What's up, you guys? It's Film Debris. It's D, Jesse, Temple, and this episode's all about love.
My mind's telling me no,
but my body.
So we're going to talk about our favorite love story in movies, but this is about any kind of love, so everybody can enjoy this kind of love.
So I'm going to go ahead and start off. My number 3 pick is going to be Pitch Perfect. My wife made me pick it.
She gets the last word.
Hey, but that's love, you know. Sometimes it's all about crying and sorrow and pain, and you wake up and you love each other, and then you argue at lunch and you hate each other the rest of the night.
At lunch?
I don't remember that in Pitch Perfect.
I didn't either. My number 3 pick is Up. Now that's life in 15 minutes at the very, very, very beginning of that movie. If you've seen Up, you know what I'm talking about. If you see life happen, little kids, they grow up, get married, go through life, get old, one dies.
And the funny thing is, I mean, she loved him the most because she just bullied him.
Yeah,
she bullied him as a kid. Like
that's how kids are, right?
Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
That's how adults are too.
My number 3 pick is I Love You, Philip Morris. It's probably one of Jim Carrey's best roles, like speaking dramatically, because he stretches a little bit as he's playing the gay guy, and he loves Ewan McGregor. And he does all these things to, once they finally meet, to be with him, and they go back and forth where it's kind of like Catch Me If You Can, but gay. He breaks out of jail many times to go find him, and he's just a con artist, and he fakes papers, fakes being a pilot, he fakes being a lawyer, just find different ways where he can buy this guy all the things he wants because he wants to be with him.
My second pick would actually be The Proposal. This was the first movie that I was impressed with Ryan Reynolds. I was like, finally! Finally a movie that made sense with all his goofiness and all of his stupidity. It was perfect in this movie because it was just the right circumstance, you know. It was the right, and Sandra Bullock, oh my god.
Yeah, I think, you got to give it to her a little bit because I think she balances it out.
Yeah, I think she helped him.
So my number 2 pick is Just Go With It with Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston. Dude, it's a really funny movie. It's that romantic comedy. You know, you get Adam Sandler. He's always comedy in his movies. It's basically he's a doctor who's a plastic surgeon who fixes up chicks, guys, whatever. Falls in love with this young 19-year-old, and Jennifer Aniston's the receptionist. And this whole time, they've had this relationship, like, subconsciously, you know? And every time he starts dating somebody else, she's in the back of her mind like, why are you doing this? Like, you know, jealousy type of deal. They find out they like each other. They never tried it out before since they were always working together.
Right.
And they ended up trying it out, and then it's basically a decision. Do I pick the young girl who I know nothing about, or do I pick my coworker who I've known for years?
Well, my next pick is The Fountain, directed by Darren Aronofsky. He did The Black Swan and The Wrestler. It has Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz. And the story is really kind of trippy. Maybe if you've seen like Requiem for a Dream, is kind of like this weird head trip of a movie. He's like this surgeon who's trying to find the way to stop death, and she's going to die. And it goes through these different time frames of him from the past all the way into the far billions and billions of years into the future, trying to find a way for her to not die. And it's about love, but it's also kind of about obsession, where he just is obsessed with finding a way to not let her die, where he finally has to accept that things change and people die.
Yeah. My number 1 pick would be Silver Linings Playbook. In this movie, both the main characters are portrayed as like the black sheep of the family. You know, he's just getting out of like a psych ward or a mental institution where he had like a psychotic break or whatever you want to call. You know, he catches his wife cheating, and you know he's affected. His moments are triggered by hearing the song. You know,
that was playing at their wedding.
It was playing at their wedding. Yeah. It was also playing when he saw them in the shower. And the movie kind of tricked me out because the first time I saw it, I wasn't sure if that was like really what happened or if that's how he put it together in his mind, or was he really psychotic, or was he really, you know, just reacting like any one of us would if we were to be in that situation. Her character, you know, her boyfriend or her husband dies. He was a cop, and he dies. So she, you know, she lashes out. She's very promiscuous. She sleeps with everyone, and she taints her name, and she has an issue. And these two get together for selfish needs. In the midst of her helping him get his wife and him helping her get into the dance competition, you know, they realize that there really is a connection there, and it's like two psychos actually find love.
Yeah.
And it's weird, you know. It's
Yeah, they're like puzzle pieces where they got a lot of things missing. But
yeah, but somehow it perfectly is just synergy.
Yeah. Well, my number one pick is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Woo!
Now that one's actually one of my top of all time. You know, it's a funny movie. You got Robin Williams. It's basically the love story of him and his children. I mean, this guy's going from being there all the time, you know, the fun dad, just take you out of school early type of deal, to where he's in court now facing divorce and you can't see your kids, and he's going to all lengths to see his kids every day. So he becomes the nanny, the babysitter, Mrs. Doubtfire, who he creates. And I mean, you see his passion and love for his kids. So he's like, you know, I gotta see them every day. I'll dress up like a woman just so I can go see them every day. You know, he goes that much further just so he can have that time with his kids, and you just see that love throughout the movie. And it's like it drives him crazy, but at the same time, it's like that's where he wants to be.
My number one pick is Life is Beautiful. It's the Roberto Benigni movie. He directed and acted in it. Won Best Foreign Picture, I think, in '97. It's about Nazi Germany time in Europe, and he meets this woman who he, you know, completely falls in love with. But the main part of the movie is he and his son are taken away by the Nazis to a concentration camp, and the whole thing that he tries to do is he tells his son that it's a game. He tells him that we're here every day, we're trying to get points, and whoever gets the most points by being quiet, by not asking for food, by doing all these things, whoever gets the most points wins a tank at the end. You know, because he loves tanks and trucks and stuff like that. So he goes the whole movie masking what's happening to them in Germany, and he's telling his son to make them feel like life is a magical thing and it's a beautiful place. It's a really good love story. Him and his family.
It's real touching.
Love, I think we've discovered in this episode that love is kind of sad.
At times.
And if you want love, you kind of have to force your way and be mean.
At times.
At times. And sometimes you just gotta cry and whine and cry really loud.
At times.
Well, that's our love episode. Do you have any, what's your favorite love stories? You know, ones with vampires or without vampires? Leave us some comments down below. And, this is Temple, Jesse, D. Have a lovely time.
Finally, I was satisfied with the movie that Ryan Reynolds was in, and I wasn't walking out like, I'm gonna find this guy. I'm gonna